All right. I want to welcome you to the Do Work Podcast. The Do Work Podcast, the weekly podcast where we discuss all things mindset, motivation, entrepreneurship, free thinking, and how to live your best life possible. Today is no different. And, I've been doing this podcast since the pandemic. And I've noticed that personally, a lot of the subject matter always goes back to mindset, personal responsibility, and things of that nature. So I'm just going to stay going that direction because clearly that is what I'm drawn to and what I gravitate to. And today you'll understand why we did that. So I read the Wall Street Journal. Now, the only time I get to sit down, physically read it is on the weekends, which I always do. I usually, especially if I'm not traveling. If I'm traveling, I don't get the weekend edition. So doing my normal thing, I'm smoking my cigar, I'm reading my journal, and I see this article and it just blows my mind. So I had to pull it up. I should have probably put it up on the screen for you guys, but don't worry, we're going to do it anyway. But it simply says this: some take side gigs to afford diet drugs. Now, most of you know I've been in the fitness industry for 25 plus years now. And I have seen, I call it the soccer mom circuit. So if you're a soccer mom or a stay-at-home mom, I'm not coming at your life, but what I'm about to say, you're going to be like, oh, that's true. When it comes to weight loss drugs, things that you can get quick or of that nature, let me tell you something. Soccer moms get it first. They get it first. They know where to get it. I don't know. There was a point, I'll never forget, there was a point where everybody was taking, this was years ago, everybody was taking Adderall and everybody was taking Clen, and hopefully this doesn't get knocked. And mind you, the Clen is mostly a bodybuilding drug, but soccer moms found it. They were on it. And there's always, the B12 shots. There was a point where everybody was doing B12. So now the new drug of choice for weight loss is a diabetes drug, and it's called Ozempic. And it's the reason people love it so much is one, it literally does work like magic. The people are taking this thing and are losing like 7 and 8 pounds a week, which is insane. And if you know anything about fitness, you know that this is also not safe. It is so not safe. Okay. But whatever, to each his own. So this is the new drug. It's a diabetes drug. Now I'm more interested in two facets of this. Okay. Facet number one. I don't know if you guys know diabetes medication is super expensive. Like to the point where people who need it barely can afford to get it, and it's not covered by most insurances. And right now, the demand is high because everyone is using it as a recreational drug. They're using it as a recreational weight loss drug. And again, like I said, I've been in the fitness industry 25 plus years. These things come and go, very common. This is the thing that is interesting to me right now. So there's like levels to weight loss drugs. There's levels. There are ones that are like moderately cheap, quick to get. There are ones that are like mid-range expensive. And then there are ones that are like stupid expensive, right? I'm going to say right now, people are paying anywhere between $800 and $1,500 for the dosages of Ozempic. Okay, they're paying somewhere between $800 and $1,500 from what I'm hearing. And clearly, if you get it on black market, whatever, get it cheaper. Why am I so concerned about this? I'll tell you why I'm so concerned. So, one of the things I have been a avid, one of the things that has often bothered me is not how people lose weight. It's the journey. You hear me talk a lot about the journey when I'm talking about self-development. And if you hear me talking about fitness, you hear me talk a lot about The journey. So this is the thing about the journey, guys. You take this drug, it works, no question. Now there are a ton of side effects. I'm not even here to give you all that, because who cares? That's not even what I care about. I care about this and simply this. You lose the weight, 30 days, 45 days. I'm talking like massive amounts. And then what? And then what? Like, I'm just trying to understand. You lose the weight, and then what? You have no idea how to eat. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm quite sure there are people who are going to be exercising and, doubling down. I get it. But I'm going to go back to, if you're eating right and exercising, all these things happen. Do they take longer? Yes, they take time. And, people try to do things so quickly all the time. And technology is not helping. I'm not knocking people for wanting to lose weight quickly. My issue is with the culture we've created, and nobody takes the journey. So you don't take the journey, you lose weight, you still don't know how to eat, and probably damn sure you don't know how to eat, and probably don't know how to exercise. So what do you think is going to happen? The weight comes back. So what do? You go back on the drugs. And part of the reason why you lose weight on the Ozempic so quickly is because I heard it crushes your appetite. Like, crushes it. You don't even want to eat. Like, you got to force yourself to eat, from what I hear. The journey. Like, everybody wants to skip the grind. Abs are worth it because you earn them. Now, again, you can buy abs now. And to each his own. But abs are worth it because you can earn them. Like, the process, nobody can take away from you, ever. And this is a life thing. Nobody can take away from you your struggle, your journey, and your process. So if you learn how to eat and you learn how to exercise, the weight will come off. People want to argue with me. Argue with your mama. Argue with your mama, and I'm going to tell you why. Because if you do that, if you say, well, Diva, I got a metabolic condition, blah, 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 then you seek medical attention. You do that. But even in seeking medical attention, they're going to say to you, hey, this is going to help you. We want to eat sharp, but you're going to need to eat better, and you're going to need to exercise. So I'm still trying to understand why in 2023, we're still trying to skip the eat better and the exercise part. Like, nobody wants to do that part. And that part is the part that builds the mental toughness, the resilience, and actually helps your body become physically stronger and helps your mind become physically stronger. But that's the part everybody wants to skip. They want to get to the I look cute in my jeans part and the, my stomach's not hanging all over the place part. The journey is what makes things worth it. So when I saw the article, I was super annoyed. I was super annoyed because the headline pretty much said side gigs to afford diet drugs. And I was like, what? And I read the article, and this woman and her husband are both working extra jobs so they can pay for her medication. There's a lot wrong with that. Nobody's relationship is my business, but I want you to look at the big picture here. Like, how messed up are we as a society? Because mind you, if that's the case, I'm quite sure it's not just them. She could just eat better and walk. And somebody probably like, but Diva, you don't know her situation. You may not understand, or you don't know his situation. You may not understand. You know what I do understand? One thing I understand very clear is that people are always making excuses. I bet you these people who are working all these side gigs was like, I don't have time to go to the gym. But as soon as they found a weight loss drug that they thought would help them, they had time to work another 12, 16 hours. It's about choices. It's about choices. It's about choices. And people especially in this culture, are still reaching for the quick choice. And the quick choice most times doesn't work. In this case, I'll be honest and say it does, but the end results aren't going to be what you think they are, because you're going to come off and you have to learn how to eat. You have to learn how to exercise. It doesn't go anywhere. I've said the same thing about people when I've had clients who are like, I'm going to get lipo or I'm going to do this. I'm like, great. Live your life. But you do know if you get this work done and you don't eat right, it doesn't work. You're going to be right back where you started. I'm not telling you not to go. I'm just telling you, you can do that, but you still got to do this work. You still got to go through this process. And this mentality is exactly what is destroying society now. This is exactly what's making us weaker. This is it. This is what is making just this country as a whole weaker. How quick, how fast can I get it and do it and get it done without process? I'm all for working efficiently. I'm all for working faster. I'm all for working smarter. I'm all for working harder. But if you do not have the ability to do the work, because what happens is the learning happens in the work. The learning happens in the journey. You don't learn anything by bypassing that and getting your end result, because you get there and you don't know how to keep it. I've said the same thing about success over and over and over again. If you skip the journey and you skip the hustle, you'll get there, but you won't know how to keep it. Or you won't know how to work it, because there's certain processes that you have skipped. So, what am I getting at? I'm going to tell you what I'm getting at. 1, y'all need to stop being lazy. Do the work. 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 It'll make your life better. It'll make it worth it. It'll make the changes that your body goes through sustainable, because you'll know how to sustain it. 2, it's going to help you build mental fortitude. I think, generally speaking, most people are just weak-minded. They're just weak-minded. They're followers. They're sheep. So if that's the case, you can be talked into, pushed into anything. Have some balls, something. Or not, whatever. It's 2023. People be sensitive about that. Whatever. I be cracking myself up sometimes. But the fact that somebody needs to get a side job to afford diet drugs, and even the bigger issue for me was that the Wall Street Journal wrote an article about it, is beyond me. Y'all, stop being lazy. Stop trying to skip the work. I get it. I just personally had to drop 15 pounds. I would have loved to have done it super quickly. But nobody can take that process from me. Nobody can take the strength gain away from me. Nobody can take the cardiovascular gains away from me. Nobody can take that away from me. Ever. The work is part of your process. The work is where your growth happens. So stop being a damn baby. Stop being soft. Stop trying to skip the work. All right, fam. Thank you for tuning into the Do Work Podcast. You know what it is. I appreciate you. I love you. Subscribe to the newsletter. Go to divarichards.com. And remember, nothing changes unless you do. Nothing changes unless you do the work. Let's go.